Hello friends. Welcome back to my channel. The Indian Penal Code, 1860. Chapter 5. Of Abetment. Section 107. Abetment of a thing. A person abets the doing of a thing, who first, instigates any person to do the thing, or secondly, engages with one or more other person or persons in any conspiracy for the doing of that thing, if an act or illegal omission takes place in pursuance of that conspiracy, and in order to the doing of that thing, or thirdly, intentionally aids, by any act or illegal omission, the doing of that thing. Explanation 1. A person who, by willful misrepresentation, or by willful concealment of a material fact which he is bound to disclose, voluntarily causes or procures, or attempts to cause or procure a thing to be done, is said to instigate the doing of that thing. Illustration. A public officer, is authorized by warrant from a court of justice to apprehend Z. B, knowing that fact and also that C is not Z, willfully represents to A that C is Z, and thereby intentionally causes A to apprehend C. Here B abets by instigation the apprehension of C. Explanation 2. Whoever, either prior to or at the time of the commission of an act, does anything in order to facilitate the commission of that act, and thereby facilitates the commission thereof, is said to aid the doing of that act. Section 108. Abettor. A person abets an offense, who abets either the commission of an offense, or the commission of an act which would be an offense, if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offense with the same intention or knowledge as that of the abettor. Explanation 1. The abetment of the illegal omission of an act may amount to an offense although the abettor may not himself be bound to do that act. Explanation 2. To constitute the offense of abetment, it is not necessary that the act abetted should be committed, or that the effect requisite to constitute the offense should be caused. Illustrations. A instigates B to murder C. B refuses to do so. A is guilty of abetting B to commit murder. B instigates B to murder D. B in pursuance of the instigation stabs D. D recovers from the wound. A is guilty of instigating B to commit murder. Explanation 3. It is not necessary that the person abetted should be capable by law of committing an offense, or that he should have the same guilty intention or knowledge as that of the abettor, or any guilty intention or knowledge. Illustrations. A, with a guilty intention, abets a child or a lunatic to commit an act which would be an offense, if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offense, and having the same intention as A. Here A, whether the act be committed or not, is guilty of abetting an offense. B, with the intention of murdering Z, instigates B, a child under 7 years of age, to do an act which causes Z's death. B, in consequence of the abetment, does the act in the absence of A and thereby causes Z's death. Here, though B was not capable by law of committing an offense, A is liable to be punished in the same manner as if B had been capable by law of committing an offense, and had committed murder, and he is therefore subject to the punishment of death. C. Instigates B to set fire to a dwelling house. B, in consequence of the unsoundness of his mind, being incapable of knowing the nature of the act, or that he is doing what is wrong or contrary to law, sets fire to the house in consequence of A's instigation. B has committed no offense, but A is guilty of abetting the offense of setting fire to a dwelling house, and is liable to the punishment provided for that offense. D. A, intending to cause a theft to be committed, instigates B to take property belonging to Z out of Z's possession. A induces B to believe that the property belongs to A. B takes the property out of Z's possession, in good faith, believing it to be A's property. B, acting under this misconception, does not take dishonestly, and therefore does not commit theft. But A is guilty of abetting theft, and is liable to the same punishment as if B had committed theft. Explanation 4. The abetment of an offense being an offense, the abetment of such an abetment is also an offense. Illustration. A instigates B to instigate C to murder Z. B accordingly instigates C to murder Z, and C commits that offense in consequence of B's instigation. B is liable to be punished for his offense with the punishment for murder, and, as A instigated B to commit the offense, A is also liable to the same punishment. Explanation 5. It is not necessary to the commission of the offense of abetment by conspiracy that the abettor should concert the offense with the person who commits it. It is sufficient if he engages in the conspiracy in pursuance of which the offense is committed. Illustration. A consents with B a plan for poisoning Z. It is agreed that A shall administer the poison. B then explains the plan to C, mentioning that a third person is to administer the poison, but without mentioning A's name. C agrees to procure the poison, and procures and delivers it to B for the purpose of its being used in the manner explained. A administers the poison, Z dies in consequence. Here, though A and C have not conspired together, yet C has been engaged in the conspiracy in pursuance of which Z has been murdered. C has therefore committed the offense defined in this section and is liable to the punishment for murder. Section 108A. Abetment in India of offences outside India. A person abets an offence within the meaning of this code who, in India, abets the commission of any act without and beyond India which would constitute an offence if committed in India. Illustration. A, in India, instigates B, a foreigner in Goa, to commit a murder in Goa. A is guilty of abetting murder. Section 109. Punishment of abetment if the act abetted is committed in consequence and where no express provision is made for its punishment, whoever abets any offence shall. If the act abetted is committed in consequence of the abetment, and no express provision is made by this code for the punishment of such abetment, be punished with the punishment provided for the offence. Explanation. An act or offence is said to be committed in consequence of abetment, when it is committed in consequence of the instigation, or in pursuance of the conspiracy, or with the aid which constitutes the abetment. Illustrations. A offers a bribe to B, a public servant, as a reward for showing A some favor in the exercise of B's official functions. B accepts the bribe. A has abetted the offence defined in section 161. B instigates B to give false evidence. B, in consequence of the instigation, commits that offence. A is guilty of abetting that offence, and is liable to the same punishment as B. C. A and B conspire to poison Z. A, in pursuance of the conspiracy, procures the poison and delivers it to B in order that he may administer it to Z. B, in pursuance of the conspiracy, administers the poison to Z in A's absence and thereby causes Z's death. Here B is guilty of murder. A is guilty of abetting that offence by conspiracy, and is liable to the punishment for murder. Section 110. Punishment of abetment if person abetted does act with different intention from that of abettor, whoever abets the commission of an offence shall. If the person abetted does the act with a different intention or knowledge from that of the abettor, be punished with the punishment provided for the offence which would have been committed if the act had been done with the intention or knowledge of the abettor and with no other. Section 111. Liability of abettor when one act abetted and different act done. When an act is abetted and a different act is done, the abettor is liable for the act done in the same manner and to the same extent as if he had directly abetted it, provided the act done was a probable consequence of the abetment, and was committed under the influence of the instigation, or with the aid or in pursuance of the conspiracy which constituted the abetment. Illustrations. A instigates a child to put poison into the food of Z, and gives him poison for that purpose. The child, in consequence of the instigation, by mistake puts the poison into the food of Y, which is by the side of that of Z. Here, if the child was acting under the influence of A's instigation, and the act done was under the circumstances a probable consequence of the abetment, A is liable in the same manner and to the same extent as if he had instigated the child to put the poison into the food of Y. B instigates B to burn Z's house. B sets fire to the house and at the same time commits theft of property there. A, though guilty of abetting the burning of the house, is not guilty of abetting the theft, for the theft was a distinct act, and not a probable consequence of the burning. C instigates B and C to break into an inhabited house at midnight for the purpose of robbery, and provides them with arms for that purpose. B and C break into the house, and being resisted by Z, one of the inmates, murder Z. Here, if that murder was the probable consequence of the abetment, A is liable to the punishment provided for murder. Section 112. Abettor when liable to cumulative punishment for act abetted and for act done, if the act for which the abettor is liable under the last preceding section is committed in addition to the act abetted and constitute a distinct offense, the abettor is liable to punishment for each of the offenses. Illustration. A instigates B to resist by force a distress made by a public servant. B, in consequence, resists that distress. In offering the resistance, B voluntarily causes grievous hurt to the officer executing the distress. As B has committed both the offense of resisting the distress, and the offense of voluntarily causing grievous hurt, B is liable to punishment for both these offenses. And, if A knew that B was likely voluntarily to cause grievous hurt in resisting the distress, A will also be liable to punishment for each of the offenses. Section 113. Liability of abettor for an effect caused by the act abetted different from that intended by the abettor. When an act is abetted with the intention on the part of the abettor of causing a particular effect, and an act for which the abettor is liable in consequence of the abetment, causes a different effect from that intended by the abettor is liable for the effect caused. In the same manner and to the same extent as if he had abetted the act with the intention of causing that effect, provided he knew that the act abetted was likely to cause that effect. Illustration. A instigates B to cause grievous hurt to Z. B, in consequence of the instigation, causes grievous hurt to Z. Z dies in consequence. Here, if A knew that the grievous hurt abetted was likely to cause death, A is liable to be punished with the punishment provided for murder. Section 114. Abettor present when offense is committed. Whenever any person, who is absent would be liable to be punished as an abettor, is present when the act or offense for which he would be punishable in consequence of the abetment is committed, he shall be deemed to have committed such act or offense. Section 115. Abetment of offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life. If offense not committed, whoever abets the commission of an offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life, shall. If that offense be not committed in consequence of the abetment, and no express provision is made by this code for the punishment of such abetment, be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. If act causing harm be done in consequence, and if any act for which the abettor is liable in consequence of the abetment, and which causes hurt to any person, is done, the abettor shall be liable to imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 14 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Illustration. A instigates B to murder Z. The offense is not committed. If B had murdered Z, he would have been subject to the punishment of death or imprisonment for life. Therefore A is liable to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and also to a fine. And if any hurt be done to Z in consequence of the abetment, he will be liable to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 14 years, and to fine. Section 116. Abetment of offense punishable with imprisonment. If offense be not committed, whoever abets an offense punishable with imprisonment shall. If that offense be not committed in consequence of the abetment, and no express provision is made by this code for the punishment of such abetment, be punished with imprisonment of any description provided for that offense for a term which may extend to 1/4 part of the longest term provided for that offense, or with such fine as is provided for that offense, or with both. If abettor or person abetted be a public servant whose duty it is to prevent offense, and if the abettor or the person abetted is a public servant whose duty it is to prevent the commission of such offense, the abettor shall be punished with imprisonment of any description provided for that offense, for a term which may extend to 1/2 of the longest term provided for that offense, or with such fine as is provided for the offense, or with both. Illustrations. A offers a bribe to B, a public servant, as a reward for showing A some favor in the exercise of B's official functions. B refuses to accept the bribe. A is punishable under this section. B. A instigates B to give false evidence. Here, if B does not give false evidence, A has nevertheless committed the offense defined in this section, and is punishable accordingly. C. A police officer, whose duty it is to prevent robbery, abets the commission of robbery. Here, though the robbery be not committed, A is liable to 1/2 of the longest term of imprisonment provided for that offense, and also to fine. D. B abets the commission of a robbery by a police officer, whose duty it is to prevent that offense. Here, though the robbery be not committed, B is liable to 1/2 of the longest term of imprisonment provided for the offense of robbery, and also to fine. Section 117. Abetting commission of offense by the public or by more than 10 persons, whoever abets the commission of an offense by the public generally or by any number or class of persons exceeding 10, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years, or with fine, or with both. Illustration. A affixes in a public place a placard instigating a sect consisting of more than 10 members to meet at a certain time and place, for the purpose of attacking the members of an adverse sect. While engaged in a procession, A has committed the offense defined in this section. Section 118. Concealing design to commit offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life, whoever intending to facilitate or knowing it to be likely that he will thereby facilitate the commission of an offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life, voluntarily conceals by any act or illegal omission, or by the use of encryption or any other information hiding tool, the existence of a design to commit such offense or makes any representation which he knows to be false respecting such design, if offense be committed. If offense be not committed, shall, if that offense be committed, be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years, or, if the offense be not committed, with imprisonment of either description, for a term which may extend to 3 years, and in either case shall also be liable to fine. Illustration. A. Knowing that dacoity is about to be committed at B, falsely informs the magistrate that a dacoity is about to be committed at C, a place in an opposite direction, and thereby misleads the magistrate with intent to facilitate the commission of the offense. The dacoity is committed at B in pursuance of the design. A is punishable under this section. Section 119. Public servant concealing design to commit offense which it is his duty to prevent, whoever, being a public servant intending to facilitate or knowing it to be likely that he will thereby facilitate the commission of an offense which it is his duty as such public servant to prevent, voluntarily conceals, by any act or illegal omission or by the use of encryption or any other information hiding tool, the existence of a design to commit such offense, or makes any representation which he knows to be false respecting such design, if offense be committed, shall, if the offense be committed, be punished with imprisonment of any description provided for the offense, for a term which may extend to 1/2 of the longest term of such imprisonment, or with such fine as is provided for that offense, or with both. If offense be punishable with death, etc., or, if the offense be punishable with death or imprisonment for life, with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years. If offense be not committed, or, if the offense be not committed, shall be punished with imprisonment of any description provided for the offense for a term which may extend to 1/4 part of the longest term of such imprisonment or with such fine as is provided for the offense, or with both. Illustration. A. An officer of police, being legally bound to give information of all designs to commit robbery which may come to his knowledge, and knowing that B designs to commit robbery, omits to give such information, with intent to facilitate the commission of that offense. Here has by an illegal omission concealed the existence of B's design, and is liable to punishment according to the provision of this section. Section 120. Concealing design to commit offense punishable with imprisonment, whoever, intending to facilitate or knowing it to be likely that he will thereby facilitate the commission of an offense punishable with imprisonment, voluntarily conceals, by any act or illegal omission, the existence of a design to commit such offense, or makes any representation which he knows to be false respecting such design, if offense be committed. If offense be not committed, shall, if the offense be committed, be punished with imprisonment of the description provided for the offense, for a term which may extend to 1/4, and if the offense be not committed, to 1/8 of the longest term of such imprisonment, or with such fine as is provided for the offense, or with both.